and welcome to TQ Talks, where we talk taxes and tax-free living 365. Here are your hosts, Craig White, Sebastian Singh, and Patrick Augustin.
And we're back with another episode of TQ Talks. Excited to have a special guest with us today. I'm not doing all this introduction. If you haven't been with us before, my name is Craig White. With me, we have Mr. Sebastian Singh.
And we're missing Patrick Augustin tonight, but as always, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for tuning in. If there's any way this helps you or you think it could help somebody in your circle or somewhere around, go ahead and share that. Like, comment, subscribe. You can find us on all the social media platforms as well as your podcasting platforms. TQ Talks, TQ Financial Services, along with Rhys Williams here today with us, right?
Hey, clap, 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 clap. You're supposed to hit the applaud button.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you even know which one it is?
No,
don't even do it.
It's one of them, though. Let's. No, not that one. All right, Rhys, your choice. One. No.
Lord, press one, Rhys.
I
Let's
get a
see.
randomizer.
Hey!
All right, there we go. You hit it.
Oh, man.
And the crowd
listen
goes
to that.
wild.
One take wonder right there. So if you haven't been with us before, we are a tax and advisory firm. Our job is, of course, to help people to reduce the amount they owe as well as increase that wonderful refund by giving them great advice. Tax planning, as Pat would spit out every single time, 365 all year round. That's what we do. We also help them to build wealth now and for the generations to come by using usually little-known wonderful life insurance vehicles to help drive that across. Now today, we have Mr. Williams with us, who has joined us so gracefully after a long day, and we appreciate that, man, seriously. And we want to talk. We always yap back and forth about a lot of things, usually investment and
right.
things of that nature. But one of the battles, and I'll preface this, right, because you're not even prepared. So Pat, who's not here, says, man, we got to talk to Rhys. And I'm like, when Pat starts, no one even knows what he's talking about, but we're all scared. And
we just say yes and then let him keep talking.
So he goes, Rhys has been telling people to do Florida Prepaid. I was like,
lies.
What? I was like, what? When did that happen? I got blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, listen.
Multiple times was the claim, though.
That's what I got told.
That's why we brought you here.
Straight lies.
Straight
lies.
So what we're going to do is we're going to discuss that, of course. But I figured it would be a good chance to discuss the pros and cons of every vehicle, right? IULs, which is my happiness, Florida Prepaid, and 529, because I'm also liking 529s as well for a different reason, but we talk about it. But we're putting you on the Florida Prepaid side because I just don't like it. I know you're not a huge, I know, but please play along for devil's advocate.
Okay,
I'll even join in. I'll even say some pros for you. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of cons that aren't there. So
it's about education, so that's fine.
There
Let's
you
do
go.
it.
So
Right?
before we move forward, could you please give the people a quick intro because I don't want to miss anything that you have going on.
Yep.
All right. So, like you said, I'm Rhys Williams, right? Been that for 37 years of my life. And I've been in the investment management space, private wealth management, dealing with people, high net worth individuals. What does that mean? It means investing $1 million and up, for the majority of my career. Been doing that since 2000, 2007, 2009. And I am a certified private wealth advisor. So one of the letters behind my name, also an accredited investment fiduciary. What does fiduciary mean? It means that I'm not selling commission products, right? I don't sell people things that are commission. I'm trying to be objective. You pay me a fee for the investments that I manage or to help you create a financial plan. And I'm going to tell you what it is. These are your options. This is what's good. This is what's bad. And this is what, there's multiple ways to get to the same journey and goal. And this is what I think about them.
That's right. And you guys know we throw that word in here a lot. Fiduciary means we're not trying to rob you. We don't really care which way you go, what company you choose. We just try to give you the best one based on our knowledge. That's
Good
it.
information. I got to shout out Rhys again because quite a few of our clients do use Rhys, and he's one of our partners that we use when it comes to anything wealth management. Straight over to Mr. Williams.
Yes, sir.
And all of our clients are taken care of.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and one of the things I got to throw in there too is that, from a majority of my career, it's, people that didn't look like me. And so for now, going forward, really trying to hone in on those entrepreneurs, those doctors, those nurses, that, first generational wealth and help give them the secrets, the knowledge that they need to be able to achieve the same wealth objectives that, others have been doing for generations now.
Well
Other
put.
communities, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Love it. Hey, listen.
I
So,
wish he was here for that other one.
man, I know you're thinking the same thing as me. I was like, oh, we could have got him on.
We recorded one where it had the disparity between different races, I want to say, and I'm using that loosely just because of how they were titled, but different races in America. So Filipino American versus regular Black American, I think it said.
I'm
regular
showing him
American?
the thing now.
Yeah,
I just
so
sent
that was
Josh
just very
the
interesting.
information. And
Yeah, we got to do better. We
Yeah.
gotta do better.
Are you surprised?
I'm not surprised.
Got it.
ooh,
Got it.
the blow, crushing blow.
That's exactly how we felt.
Yeah, that's-
But that being said, there is hope, right? Like
Right.
the reality is that dynamic is changing for real. Like the face of wealth, just from the next generation. And I was just on a panel regarding this yesterday at the conference I'm down here for, and the face of wealth is changing. You know, wealth is being more readily available across those demographics, and now it's what do we do with it, right? How do we protect it? How do we grow it? How do we manage it? People are asking the right questions that they weren't asking before, and that's what I'm all here for: educate and help you do that, help you accomplish the things that I've been doing for people for the last 15 years.
So as we segue, because that's a good segue, Sebastian's comment towards the end and Patrick's, and I co-signed, was that graph that you just saw, which was the census from whatever date it was, the biggest factor for them was that education had to be the most obvious disparity, right? Either lack thereof or pushing the person towards specific educational careers, doctors, lawyers, whatever it is, physicians of some sort. That brings us to this wonderful Florida Prepaid 529 IUL. Now, again, for the sake of this podcast, we're going to assume, and we're going to say, hey, Rhys, you like Florida Prepaids. And what we're trying to find out is if you want to give a summary, you can. If you want me to yap through it, I can, obviously. But, you know, your takeaway from a Florida Prepaid and why someone prospectively might like it.
So Florida Prepaid, right? You know, it's in the answer's in the name. You're prepaying your future college expense, so you don't have the uncertainty of what college is going to cost you down the road, right? And Florida Prepaid, it's specifically for Florida institutions.
Right.
That's the main advantage.
Yep.
Plain and simple. I can go to sleep at night. I pay X dollars up front now, and I know that my child is going to be covered at any Florida institution. I don't have to come out of pocket for anything extra, and I could go to sleep at night and feel secure in their financial future for education.
Right. And to add a pro to that, even though I said, you know, we talked about it's going to be a back and forth, but again, a positive is if you want stats, I think over the last 10 years, the average Florida tuition has increased. I want to tell you it's between 33 and 35%. Now, it sounds bad, but it's like from 7,500 to like 10,300.
Yeah. So that's, you know, like 3% a year. Right?
I get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to specify just a little bit, the Florida Prepay also locks in the price of college tuition now.
Current.
Right. And I don't know if we
so it's your current. So whatever it is at this current time,
2023 or whenever you whenever you sign up for it.
Now, there is, you know, different plans, because there's ones for just tuition and there's ones for room and board and whatever the case is and food and blah, blah, blah. So, again, that's the reason why a lot of people, and again, through good advertising and marketing, I'm going to say that Florida Prepaid gets a great nod, right? People say, oh, it's very affordable. I can put my kid.
Yeah.
And
it's easy, though. It's to Rhys's point, I'm paying this every month.
That's it.
I don't have to think about it.
That's it. Now, the cons, right? Because I think that's all the pros, unless you guys have something else that I'm not thinking of. Nah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Transferable.
It's transferable, but
Yep.
other things are transferable. So
Right.
it's, you know.
Okay.
But that's still a pro. Yeah, very true. It is transfer. What Sebastian, to enlighten that, is he's saying that if your child decides that they don't want to go to college or to whatever it is, that university in Florida, then you'd be able to transfer it to a family member. We'll leave it that broad because it is that broad.
We'll just leave it
Because that's what
vague,
it is. Now, my cons, you know what I mean? I'm going to go ahead and make sure everybody, I am not a fan of Florida Prepaid, right? And there's multiple reasons. One, because I feel if you're going to go down that road, you might as well get a 529 plan. And we can, of course, Rhys, I'll lean on you to explain the difference because they're tired of hearing my voice. But Florida Prepaid locks me in. Okay, great. But my money grows at 0% interest, which bothers the peep out of me, right? That, like, what is the point of that? That's the first part. Two, if my kid doesn't want to go, and this is dealing with my son. If my kid doesn't want to go to a Florida school, a lot of the programs don't allow me to use it for out of state. So now what?
Well, I think you do, but if your kid's going out of state, right? We all know that the cost of out of state education is significantly higher than the price you were locking in for the in-state tuition today.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, I think they give you some amount towards that out-of-state tuition that's equivalent to the in-state tuition, which ain't going to go very far for an out-of-state school.
It does. And I've even looked it up to try to figure out what, North Carolina, you know what I'm saying? Because we're talking different things. And it was like, okay, this makes no sense. So this is not on this topic, but it is because you said something that triggered me. We're also in Florida. So my wife comes and says, we're definitely not having our kid go to a Florida university.
This is new.
You guys know where we're going, though?
This is new.
Whoa.
Because of what's happening with the DeSantis and the HBCUs and everything else.
Everything.
And listen, I'm a Florida Gator, so and that's a school that's being transformed as we speak. So I don't know what that's going to look like in 10 years.
Right. And so I'm a Seminole, of course, you guys. So it's all Florida based, and that, not knocking Florida Prepaid, there's just something that just dawned on me.
No, the governor's just making a lot of new rules and passing a lot of things that quite a few people are upset about. I don't know if you saw the new safety warnings about traveling to Florida.
Yes.
That's huge.
So the reason I say that is because then
we may not want to be there.
Right. It further discourages me from participating in that. Even though, again, I'm going to give it credit and an insult. Florida Prepaid is one of the 9 states that currently still have a prepaid program. It was 22 to start off, in case y'all know history, and they knocked them all off. Either they couldn't afford it, or they said, hold time out. We're going to pause on it because it's just not working for us, which is crazy. So kudos to Florida. And they even come out with certain articles that says, hey, we're going to guarantee, we're going to keep, and how far that goes, I don't know. But they said, no, we're not going to fold like other states.
I mean, we're Florida, so we say a lot of things. Some things we keep up with, some things we forget about.
We do. So again,
all right. So one of your cons is non-transferable to another state, or it doesn't hold the same.
It doesn't hold the same value.
Right?
It has zero growth is my second one, and again, the part for me is that and Rhys alluded to it in the opening was. The face of people who are creating wealth and generating wealth is changing. And that's just not a color thing. That's just the age and the different markets that they're doing it with, right? So it's not like, again, we've done studies before. You and I have talked about it. We say, hey, look at the people who have graduated from a 4-year university and then look at the percentage that actually use the degree in the field they're in. And it was like 20-something%. Right. The other 76, I think it was something crazy, weren't using
out of field.
Yep. So it was madness to me. So again, from my perspective, what I want to do is keep it open, keep the options open for my child to say, yo, do what you want to do. If you want to sweep floors, I could care less. I'm going to have a whole bunch of other things in place for you to be making money. So the idea, and my wife is a super educator, you guys vibe very well, Sebastian, has that college mentality. Even though I went and got the degrees and all that, I don't care about it because I feel like there's so much more that's available. And I also feel like people have used college as a ways to earn a lot of money for themselves, meaning like institutions, and it doesn't really translate to the individual. You know what I mean? That really hurts.
Yeah, to me, college needs to be a strategic decision in this era. Like, it's not just like an absolute given, to your point, that I'm just going to go get a 4-year degree, and that means that I'm going to be opening up the world. While it's probably better than just going to high school, right? Like, you need to do something beyond high school. It's not the only and end-all, be-all to a wealthy future.
Now, to your point, Craig, statistically, we know that having a college degree does give you a better chance at making substantially more money. So if there is no plan, if there is no strategy, if there is no passionate drive, go to college. I'm gonna say that straight up. So we're gonna find a way to get the people who are looking for the higher education in these formal facilities. We're gonna find what works best for them. Right. So maybe maybe not Florida prepaid.
Right. So
Maybe.
but now before you do that, 529s, right?
Okay.
So that's my second.
Maybe 529s.
That's my second in my, if we were going backwards. Florida prepaid would be number 3. 529 for me is a number 2.
Okay.
And Rhys, you want to touch on what it is, the differences or whatever? If not, I can do it. It's no big deal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And let me back it up really quick, right? One of the things you said about Florida prepaid is that there's zero growth. So that's, to correct that statement a little bit, right? There is a fixed cost that you're paying today for the future expense of college. There is some value and growth to that.
I can understand.
It's just not very little, right? The way you measure it is the cost of education you just mentioned is going up about,
increase.
Relatively 3% a year, right? So in 10 years, if your kid's going to college, you would have to have paid a 33% higher cost over those 10 years, right?
Fair
so
enough.
let's just simplicity's sake, that's 3% a year to get there. So that is your return on your monies by locking it in today is a 3% return a year. The question is my money best spent paying and locking in that price of college today if my return on my money is 3% a year?
Right.
Or can I get a better return on my money
Elsewhere.
Right. And so that segues into the 529.
Okay.
Because when we look at the 529, it is a vehicle that is tax advantaged. Luckily, or unfortunately for people in Florida, there's no state tax, right? So it typically gives you a state tax benefit for the contributions up to a certain amount for people that live in other states. But it allows you to put money into that plan that is designated solely for educational expenses. Some of the benefits to 529s have been enhanced over the years because it used to be only to higher institutions, higher education institutions. Now you can use it from K to 12 as well, in addition to higher educational expenses. So if you have a kid going to private school, you can put money into it and let it grow tax-free like an IRA. And then if you use it directly for those future educational expenses, any of the growth that you've had within the plan based on how you invest it is also tax-free.
Right.
You just have to pay that institution directly.
That's right.
Right? It is transferable as well.
That's correct.
Right? So that's another benefit. So if a kid doesn't use it, you can hand it over to another kid. Something else that's a new benefit that should be coming down the pipe in a year or so, around 2024, I believe, is that you can take a certain amount of the 529 funds back as the person that contributes to it if you do not use all of it for the future educational expense. And you can even take more than the limit that they've set. You just have to pay some taxes on the gains and earnings and a little bit of a penalty. But you can still get, that's not the end of the world if you're still getting that money back that grew all that time, tax advantage, without having to pay taxes on it.
Yep. And a lot of 529 plans are partnered with multiple states. That's the other part that I love. Right?
Correct.
So I can actually look at, okay, fine, I'm in Florida, but I want to go. I use North Carolina again, but California, it doesn't matter.
Cali or Georgia.
They literally have the list, and you could look through and see what works with what, which is awesome.
Yeah, like I have a 529 set up for my kids in the New York 529 plan. It has low investment fees, and it has a pretty good investment options, right? So invest it super aggressively, let it just ride until they're ready to use it.
And that was the other part of the Florida Prepaid that you don't have, by the way. There's no flexibility to investment. It's what it is what it is. Again, not knocking. I'm just giving the program.
And you're just locking it in, right?
Right. But as a 529, as Rhys already alluded to, you have the ability, some flexibility to, hey, this is where I'm going to invest and put the money. Again, the returns, I'm not going to say are minimal because I think that's unfair. But again, you're not going to be, it's not like a normal investment plan. So again, that's why I pick a 529, and I think Rhys sounds like he agrees that over
the Florida prepaid. But another one of the cons, which was a con from the Florida one or the Florida prepaid, is that it's only useful in
educational
XYZ state,
right?
But
well,
also in
it can be used for multiple. Again, if
but that's what I'm saying. If you picked one with, let's say, I don't know, and then you want to go to Ohio, it's not part of it.
It doesn't
then
work
you would
that
have
way.
to, at least to Rhys's point, there is some flexibility on what you can do with that money afterwards.
There's a lot more
Yeah,
flexibility.
absolutely. Yeah. And so back to the, from my standpoint, when I'm making this decision, back to looking at the return potential of earning a 3% return on the Florida prepaid plan because you fix that rate and costs are going to go up 3% a year, so you're going to save that. Versus if I'm investing in a 529 plan where I have the flexibility to invest in, say, the S&P 500, over the history, stock market, let's say it averages 7 to 8%. That's 7 and 8% a year return on the same dollars that versus that 3% return that you would have earned on the Florida prepaid money, right? By setting that up. Now look at it, the fact that interest rates are rising, inflation is high, that sucks. One of the good things about high inflation is that you actually earn money on your cash.
All right.
Yeah.
And so if you look at a 10-year government bond right now, it's earning 3.7%.
Yep.
So you can buy a U.S. government treasury bond, 10-year bond, that's earning 3.7%. That right there is already outpacing the return on your monies, putting that same dollars into that Florida prepaid plan.
Yep.
Because you're
just
only
buy that
getting
bond.
about the 3%.
Correct.
And this is already beating it with just letting it sit there, taking it back out.
Correct.
Yep.
And then versus the 529, if I invest it over 10 years, hopefully I can get 7-8%, maybe more.
Right. Right.
Right. And that brings me into my IUL.
IULs.
Index Universal
Life.
Same battle as Rhys.
Okay.
I told my wife I was good with the 529, but again, the flexibility of the IUL. To me, the IUL gives everything. I get to invest it in something indices like the S&P, NASDAQ, whatever the case is. We'll stick with S&P. If I'm averaging 78 on the return, I get the exact same return. The only difference is I can do what I want to do with that money. I can pull it out. I can play with it. I can invest in it. I can use it for whatever it is. And if they want to go to school, they want to go to trade school, they want to sit on the corner, I don't care because it gives me the flexibility to do all of that. And the household that I'm in, again, you got artistic background, even though I'm in finance, which is really weird, but I was literally just drawing with my son today for a project. I don't know how my brain works. My brother's a full-fledged artist. Like any way y'all can describe it, he's an artist. And then you also have my wife, again, who's the attorney. So you got brain and you got creativity. And I'm thinking.
But let's not take anything away from Bria. Also, she does the this, she does
I get it,
dancing, she has her artistic stuff.
But when
also,
it comes
so then you guys put that into Liam.
And I don't know what I'm going to get. So when I have to pick something, I don't want to stop and say, okay, I only can use this money for education because I don't know what this guy's going to be. He's wild. And so if he says, no, Dad, I think I'm just going to end up being with Uncle Herson. I'm going to be a DJ. I'm being honest. Like, what am I going to say? You know what I mean? Okay, cool. Let's go get you some equipment.
Get
you know
some
what I mean?
Startup money up.
That's what it is. So only reason I picked the IUL over, and I'm literally saying the only because it is the only one, is because it gave me more flexibility, same growth, same whatever. I can use it for whatever I want, private, public. It doesn't make a difference. And again, I have the growth. And if I don't touch it, and if he doesn't use it for school, later on I can use it for whatever the heck I want with no tax ramifications because this is after-tax dollars. You know what I mean? So that's
is there also a death benefit?
Yes, there is. I'm going to tell you guys, when I talk to people at IULs, I don't
even bring that up.
Because it's still life
like
insurance. It is. And I don't want people to focus on the death benefit because that product is not made for death benefit.
Right.
And so if that's your way of coming in as a full life insurance tool, you're using it wrong. Because if I set it up to where you have a big return for your beneficiary, then the money that you're investing is not going fully into the product. So that defeats the purpose. And let me tell you guys, IULs don't pay us, right? When they're structured correctly, literally the premium is what we get paid is garbage because it can't be big. It has to be, hey, all the money that's coming in goes towards whatever the investment strategy that you're using is, and that's what their benefit is.
Versus your more traditional life insurance policy.
Yeah, I usually have two going, if the client is asking, we talk through that, but that's not what I use the IUL.
So can I ask you a question?
Yes, 100%.
Like, so it's life insurance, right? So
yes, it is.
Whole life insurance type policies.
Yes, it is. Cash
part
value.
of your premium, say $100. Of that $100, part of it's going to go to the chance of you dying.
Yes.
Right? And then part of it's going to go to the investment bucket.
100.
For the IUL, what is that percentage split, right? Of that $100, how much is going to the cost of the insurance versus how much is going to actually be invested?
Excellent question. There goes the person setting it up, right? So if it's set up and structured correctly, I would tell you between 85 and 90% of your money is supposed to be going in investment. So I'll give an example. When we do a policy, and I'm using just wild numbers, let's say the person says they're going to contribute. This is to give you an easy example of where the money goes. If they say, oh, we're going to contribute $1,000 a month, okay? That $1,000 a month is not how we get paid. Usually that $1,000 gets split in half to start off with. So the required premium for that person being paid is $500. From that $500, $100. That's how the insurance person gets paid from that one time, guys. It's not
first
every
payment, right?
That's it. The rest of it can't be, because if they paid us all the time, now you could choose to say, okay, well, Craig, we're going to give you 3% for the next 4 years. You get what I'm saying? But usually it's a tiny portion that you're getting, and the rest goes. So usually the only additional money is to fund to give the life insurance people some money, and the rest of it is going in towards the actual investment.
The whole idea is for it to grow as quickly
as possible.
as possible.
And so
right.
to me, it runs. In all honesty, like I think Liam, he has one, but his is running at around 9 and change, 9.35%, right? But I don't think it'll be that. I think based on the market, you know this, but the market going up, and I think he's probably going to average around 5.5 to 6%. That's my truth, right? What I did though was I did a comparison. I'm knocking on Florida Prepaid, not because I am, but I literally did it. Like I ran their numbers based on this is like last month. I won't say names, but I ran the numbers to show them if I contribute the exact same amount, and I'll give you a higher percentage. The rate of return on on that person's investment, their kid, based on age and it showed like, okay, Florida Prepaid, you would save, or you'd be a total cash amount that you would actually have to spend was like 36.
Okay.
The IUL was like 48.
Okay.
Same
So
amount of
up
time,
12.
you get what I'm saying? So I'm saying to the person, not knocking whatever, I'm showing you that if I can contribute the same way and I can earn the same way, but I can walk away with roughly it was between $12,000 and $13,000 more to do whatever the heck I want to do anyway.
Why not?
Then why not? But again, back to yours, I'm going back to the 529. I'm a fan, because guess what? The numbers to me would be almost the exact same.
Exactly.
Right.
I'm just being real. The difference again is I don't have to just use it for education.
Back to
You
the
know what I mean?
flexibility.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And again, I'm going to even give more credit to the 529, because when we were debating this 7 years ago, it didn't have that clause that you talked about, because that was part
That's
of
a
the
recent.
showing it.
Yep. That was
Brand
a recent
new.
change where you can use it for the K-12 stuff, which
Right.
might be a big deal for some people.
It was.
Especially in this day.
Right.
day
And
age
the
with
the
public
bigger
schools
part
and
of
stuff
taking
like
it back, or put it put it back into something else. You
Is
could
it like a
roll it.
Roth IRA?
Thank
or
you.
some
You could
sort of-
roll it.
yeah.
But that again is new.
So when you made your decision,
it wasn't there. Now, I would
wasn't
still
even
pick
on
the
the table.
IUL again, because I have so much flexibility. I don't need you to cap and figure out what I'm doing.
Right.
But if you're not the person that is comfortable with that structure, then go. And then to sum this up for because this is the longest one, but it's a very good podcast, to be honest, a lot of education. My final household decision was IUL, and if you want, we'll do a 529 as a backup.
as well.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't hurt.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's where sometimes people like to make these things like absolutes, right? As long as you avoid getting the Florida Prepaid.
I didn't say that, guys.
Listen, there's multiple avenues to get to the same destination. Like, we know that we live in South Florida. We understand, like, listen, you pull up Google Maps, like, whenever I'm going anywhere, just because I'm like trying to find the fastest route. Like,
Right.
the route I took yesterday is not going to be
Right.
the best route today. But I think these things can coexist together.
Amen.
And as long as you make that decision on like, hey, what's going to maximize my dollar over the long term, I think that's really the path to go. So don't feel bad if you pick the 529 versus the IUL or vice versa. I think they both can work together. You can have both and still live in harmony.
100%. And again, Pat, he did not say that he was a fan or he was promoting. I hope you hear it from. You're going to hear it anyway.
Yeah,
Pat.
I don't know, Patrick, where you got that from.
Listen, wherever he got it from, he 1,000% believes
He
it.
sure does.
And I don't want to make it too bad, but you're lucky he's not here.
It would have been good, though. It would have been good. He has great commentary.
Man,
But
I did not say that, Pat.
But thank you, Rhys, for spending this much time with us, for educating us. And, man, we're happy you could be here. Again, this has been a great conversation. We'd love to have you back, obviously, to probably talk a little bit more about real, I say that sounds bad, but real investing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
actually
absolutely.
putting things in. Because that's what we usually send people your way for. Hey, you want somebody to manage your money? Here's who you want to speak to. And we'd love to talk about that, because I don't think people really have a good grasp of what that is actually.
And a big one that I want to throw out there that like I'm going to self-promote right now and put it out there. Like, we got to talk about estate planning, right? To a real degree,
That's
right?
very
And that's
true.
where a lot of the insurance does come into play is the estate planning component, right? Again, I said I'm a fiduciary. So like, we have a trust and estate planning firm as part of our firm. I don't write documents. I'm not a lawyer. You have to go to a lawyer. But like, I know what you need to be doing.
Right.
And
Is that a jab at Swinton? I just want to say that out there. while we're on the podcast, which I know he listens to because he hasn't been in the building
Has
yet.
he been here yet?
No, we've been trying to get him.
He's
I know
on
you're
the
gonna
way.
s-
He's
yeah,
on the way.
yeah,
He's
right.
on the way. We're seeing him
shouting
in
you out.
an hour.
Listen, we're calling you
Listen,
out right
I've-
now.
We're seeing him in an hour, and we're working that out. Remember, Rhys lives slightly further away, so we made sure we got Rhys in here. Swinton will come in.
So I've known Swinton long enough. When he says he's on the way, you can go take a nap, watch a movie.
But you also know that he will get there.
He'll eventually get there.
Okay.
But
We're getting him in.
But
We're
he's
getting- we
just
really
about to
need-
get in the shower when he says he's on the way.
No, but we really need him in. We need that conversation because, again, we're wrapping this up. To your point, man, look, the face of investment, the face of money is changing. And if we want us, because I want to make sure I have some money now too, as well as our generations to come, to be in a great position and just to be able to flex harder, to puff out their chest, to have more to talk about, then we have to do all those things. It's a big circle. It's a big wheel. It's not just one thing.
Correct.
So, again, it's cyclical, and let's talk this out. Let's figure it out.
And thanks for bringing that back up, Rhys. Of course, the estate planning side, that's another partner that we've managed to create with you guys. And thankfully for our clients, we're able to send them somewhere trusted as well. So thanks for joining us. If this has helped you guys, or it can help anyone around you, there are a lot of kids being born, a lot of kids out there that don't have plans yet. If you guys need anything from us, please, you know where to find us. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We are TQ Financial Services, and we put out TQ Talks every week.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening to TQ Talks. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and recommend on iTunes, SoundCloud, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get more information at TQFinancials.com.